Session and adopt certification of closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Secretary, I'm sorry.
Whereas the Dinwiddie County School Board has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas paragraph 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Dinwiddie County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board. Dr. Elaine J. Pearson, District 1.
I certify.
Dwayne G. Walker, District 2.
I certify.
Barbara T. Pittman, District 3.
I certify.
Mary M. Benjamin, District 4.
I certify.
Jason L. Brown II, District 5.
I certify.
All have certified, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. We want to invite everybody to stand with us as we open with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Madam Secretary, do we have any amendments to the agenda?
No, there are no amendments to the agenda this evening.
Excellent.
I approve that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We have some recognitions.
Yes, Ms. Robinson Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Tonight or this afternoon, we would like to recognize 3 of our Dinwiddie County Public School students. They participated in the VSBA Student Art Contest. And first up, we would like to recognize Lola Sky Brown, 4th grader at Dinwiddie Elementary. Please come forward. And we'll take photos after. Next, Elise Allen for her recognition award for the VSBA Student Art Contest. Elise. And our second place winner, so Jake Bowe is an 8th grader at Dinwiddie Middle School. Jake won 2nd place in the middle school level of the VSBA Student Art Contest. Jake, please come forward. All right, and I'm not sure if I mentioned Elise is an 11th grader at Dinwiddie High School, and so after we take intermission, we'll take photos together, and we'll also spotlight their artwork and their photos on social media. Before I leave the podium, Dr. Weston, I would like to bring to your attention that today is Bus Driver Appreciation Day, and so we've spent today highlighting on social media as well as this week transportation department as well. So
That's great.
thank you.
Well, do any of the board members have anything you'd like to say to these artistes?
It's wonderful to have that kind of talent, and we hope that you will nurture it and keep going with it and make it a part of your life or make it a part of what you do in the future. I would like to mention one thing on the recognitions. Dr. Weston
Yes,
was
I would like
nominated
to know
for.
that the students to know that we're very proud of them. When we go to look at the art, we don't know who did it. We just look at it. And it's amazing sometimes the ones that we choose, this number 1, this number 2, and it's ours. So we know how to recognize good work when we see it. So congratulations to your students and keep it up. And as Ms. Pittman said, it may become a part of your life as you move forward. Thank you.
Good. Ms. Pittman had another comment.
Dr. Weston was nominated for Superintendent of the Year in the state of Virginia, and she went to that ceremony this week, and she was the runner-up, but she's our Superintendent of the Year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Really
Mr.
great
Brown.
work to all of our student artists. Please keep it up. Continue to harness your skills on the men. If your parents need some art supplies or anything like that, you've got a whole community around you that can help you out with that. So yeah, continue to work on your skills and develop them and share them with other people. I enjoyed it. The rest of us that had gone to the event had enjoyed your artwork as well. So there's a whole world of people that are ready to enjoy your art.
Absolutely. I just want to say you guys are immensely talented. So it's pretty cool to see you represent our county and our school system with your art. Also want to thank for the mention of the bus drivers. They are the unsung heroes, and we talk sometimes about the fact that they're the first face and the last face that our kids see every day. And theirs is a very challenging job. So I do want to publicly appreciate them. Dr. Weston, did you?
Yeah, I just would echo all that you said. I think the bus drivers definitely, are people that I think sometimes we fail to recognize enough. And also, I'd like to say to the art teachers, we have amazing art teachers here that our young people get to work with all the time. And we had an opportunity in March to go and see all of the artwork from our students across the county, and just was so impressed by that. And so I'm very appreciative of a board that does recognize the talents of our teachers and our bus drivers, and we have a budget that really does support that. And so I'm excited to talk about the budget a little later too. But thank you all for the grown people that do help the young people be the best they possibly can be.
Awesome. We do have more business that we're going to handle in just a moment, but because there are a few of you that came here for recognitions and you may not have signed up for a business meeting, we're gonna take a brief recess. And in that time, you can take pictures with Ms. Robinson Williams in the hallway. And if you want to stay, you are welcome to stay. This is an open session. It's open to anyone that wants to be here. But we want to give you an opportunity to slip out if you need to do that. So thank you again for being here. We'll recess for about 2 minutes, if that's okay. And then we'll call the meeting back to order. We're going to move into our closed session report. We'll entertain a motion at this time related to the personnel list.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the personnel list as it was presented to us this evening. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. And now student matters.
Mr. Chair, I move that we uphold the recommendation of the Chief Academic Officer for student number LT-04/26-1.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we uphold the recommendation of our Chief Academic Officer in the case of student number LT-04/261. Madam Secretary, can I request a roll call vote for that?
Dr. Elaine Pearson,
Aye.
Dwayne G. Walker,
Aye.
Barbara T. Pittman,
Aye.
Mary M. Benjamin,
Aye.
Jason L. Brown II.
No.
4-1. The motion carries. Thank you. Now we have some board matters that we need to look at. First, related to instructional time.
Dr. Clay?
Dr. Clay.
Everyone. So I come before you again this school year to talk about instructional time.
in our calendar. So just for a little background, I mean, I think we all know in Virginia code, all school systems in the state of Virginia are required to either have 180 days or 990 hours of instructional time. Our calendar is built with bank time. However, this school year, due to weather and other circumstances, we did exhaust that bank time. On the sheet that Ms. Rainey is displaying, the days are listed. I will not read all that to you, but those are the days listed as a school division that we missed due to weather. As you recall, I did come before you in February. We added 15 minutes to the school day, and at that moment, that would have made up all of our time, except at Sunnyside due to that water outage. They would have still been an outlier. Okay, but in that moment, that would have made up our time. However, after that, on February 23rd, we did have a 2-hour delay due to weather. And then on March 16th, as you know, I think every school division in Region 1 closed due to the forecast of severe weather on that day. So that put us again at a place where we're not going to meet the 990 instructional hours. Also, after I presented to you, Sutherland Elementary experienced an incident where their students had to be released 3 hours early on March 19th due to a Dominion Energy transformer malfunction, which caused a surge that led to a circulation motor catching fire. So then Sutherland had additional hours that needed to be made up. We did submit a weather waiver, as we had done last year for the middle school, but this year we submitted a weather waiver as an entire county for every school. The weather waiver was for, as a district, 6.75 instructional hours. That's how much we were going to be behind the 990 requirement. Sutherland, their waiver, the request was for 9.75 because of that additional 3 they missed. And then Sunnyside, because of, again, the time missed due to the water outage, 16.75 hours. We submitted all of our documentation for that. The waiver was denied. We appealed that denial I had a virtual meeting with some VDOE representatives where we reviewed what had occurred. We reviewed remote learning guidance. I know that's always a question, and that's a question they had. Why didn't you do remote learning? Once we reviewed that guidance together, they agreed that due to our infrastructure with a lack of internet throughout the county, the fact that we do not send home devices with elementary and middle school students, we truly cannot meet the criteria for remote learning. They agreed with that. However, they still denied our weather waiver in an official letter from the state superintendent. So because of that, we do have to find ways to make up the hours that I just listed to you as a district, and then a few more hours for Sutherland and quite a bit more for Sunnyside. So because of that, 2 things that I'll be requesting for approval this evening. One is that the last day of school currently, May 28th, is an early release day. So we are requesting that that now be a full day of instruction. That makes up 3 hours as a district, okay? The other piece that needs your approval this evening is because Sunnyside has missed so much more, that May 29th, which is graduation day, which is a teacher work day, will need to be a full day for Sunnyside to recover 6 more hours. So you're saying, well, that math is not mathing, Amanda. That's only 9 hours. So the other thing that we have done with each principal is we have gone through their master schedule several times. And I'm calling it dead time. So what they have done in their schedule is picked up some dead time that was not allocated to be instructional time. And maybe it was being used for instruction. I can talk through a couple of different scenarios. The high school will be an outlier. They truly reallocated some time in the morning to be instruction. And that began, every other school was April 20th. I believe the high school was April 23rd. They began that. When we calculate that time, then we will make up all the time that I have listed here. And just so you feel, we always want to be secure in what we're doing. I am a rule follower by nature. Some would say a bit too much sometimes. So when we came up with this plan, I did reach back out to the Virginia Department of Education to say, here is what we're doing. Are we thinking about this correctly? And they did agree, absolutely yes. You look at every minute in that day. We look at Virginia Code, recess time counts, transition time between classes counts. So what we're doing all these pieces together will make up that instructional time. For the high school, when I say dead time, most students, when they get off the bus, are there, and I believe Miss Bailey's in the room, maybe not, are there about 15 to 20 minutes before first period begins, and they're just kind of not going to class. So it's been an issue we need to look at anyway. So starting April 23rd, they said you must, when you get off the bus, get your breakfast, you must go to first period, and the students that are there, teachers are not starting new instruction, but projects they have to work on, missing work, help they need, review is what is starting in that time that we're recapturing as instructional time. For elementary school and middle, it was really like that morning meeting or gen time. Students were truly already in there. We just weren't counting it and are not towards our 990 hours. Any questions?
Is this something we need to take action on today? We need to.
You need to take action on two things. The reallocation of what I call dead time, you do not need to take action on. What needs action is making May 28th a full day for students, for all students, and May 29th a full day just for Sunnyside Elementary School.
Before we entertain a motion on that, could I ask you to speak to, of course, we hear from parents sometimes, and there were questions this year about asynchronous learning. And we've talked about that, but if we could maybe make a statement
Sure.
publicly here
Absolutely.
about what the state requires in order to claim asynchronous and why that
Sure.
wasn't an option
And I
for
don't
us.
have the exact things with me, but I can tell you a lot of it. So that's that remote learning piece I'm
Right.
speaking to. There are a lot of requirements there. You provide meals, counseling is available. Students that have an IEP or 504, they must be able to get their services and accommodations. And it speaks to teachers and students having an environment that is conducive to learning in their home. And part of that is access to internet. There are many people in our county who do not have access to internet, including some of our employees, reliable internet.
Right.
I think the other piece is we do send devices home with high school students. We do not send devices home with elementary and middle school students. So, many times when people talk about remote or asynchronous learning, it's like, send a packet home.
Right.
No, the guidance is much bigger than sending a packet home. And this is the piece that I spoke to, that I had a virtual meeting with the Virginia Department of Education, 2 of their representatives. We went through that guidance. And again, it's not just packets, it's all these other pieces that a teacher must be available if a student needs help. And that could be office hours, but there's a virtual aspect to that where internet and a device would be a need.
So just to be clear, I'll say it back to you. So we cannot claim asynchronous learning in Dinwiddie County largely because of the lack of internet access. So other communities that have claimed that's between them and the Department of Education.
Yes, you are correct. And I will say one of our core values is integrity.
I understand.
So, for us, we want to make sure, this is where I'm a rule follower, Pastor Walker.
Right. I appreciate it.
I want to make sure when I ask Dr. Weston to sign off on something that we have done it with integrity. And that's not speaking to what other divisions are doing, but for us, as we review that guidance, we cannot, with integrity, meet all of those criteria for every single student in the county. That's the struggle that we have. I will say the state mentioned that maybe they're going to review that guidance. I did volunteer to be a part of that. I said, I'll join that committee because I would love to be a part of that work. When you think about rural divisions that, do not have the same accessibility as some larger divisions, right?
Sure. So at this time, we need to act on May 28th for the entire county and May 29th just for Sunnyside. So we'll entertain a motion if someone would.
Mr. Chair, I move that May the 28th move from a half day to a full day, and that May 29th be a full day for Sunnyside.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we declare May 28th will be moved from a half day into a full day of instructional time for all schools in the county. And that May 29th would become a full day of school for Sunnyside Elementary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Dr.
Thank you
Clark.
so
So
much.
just a clarification, the 29th would be teachers and students at Sunnyside, but a teacher work day for everybody else.
That is correct, and it's graduation for the high school.
Right.
So we'll work with Sunnyside and Ms. Hawkins about, teachers getting those end of the year pieces done. We'll work together on that. Thank you.
And the other thing, I guess, would be if there's anybody that works at Sunnyside who has a kid graduating.
Yes,
Okay.
she does know to make that allowance for them.
All right.
Absolutely. We are going to need to make a change to the agenda. There was a misunderstanding about the teacher sponsor for the FBLA conference. So we'll need to move that to the May agenda.
So,
This isn't a normal meeting for us, so in her mind, it was during one of the first meetings of the month, so.
so item number 4.02 is being removed.
Yes, sir.
So we need to make a motion to amend the
To
agenda,
amend the agenda,
to-
to
to
remove that.
to accept the amended
I
agenda.
move that we adjust the agenda to item number
Yep.
4.02 with the Dinwiddie Middle School field trip for FBLA to the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we amend the agenda to remove 4.02 from this agenda and add it to our next board meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Okay.
So now we have direct-to-home delivery of summer non-congregate meal kits. A lot of words.
That's a lot of words.
Alrighty. Hi there.
Hello.
It's my first time.
Okay.
So me and Marion are here to gain approval from you all to move forward with that mouthful of words, the direct-to-home delivery of summer meal kits. Easier stated, it's my understanding that years past. Thank you. In years past, that we have had a centralized location for parents to come by and pick up meals. I think there's been like one or two. And parents have expressed dissatisfaction with the fact that they haven't been able to get there to get those meals to take home to children. Me being one of them. So now with this, we're hoping to get a vendor to come in to not only prepare the meals, but package them up in boxes and have them delivered directly to the homes of these children, which is super cool. With that being said, we did put out an RFP and we got 3 vendors to reply back. We had a committee put together of 3 individuals, and we decided to move forward with a company called PepsiCo Foundation. We have offered them the intent to award, and they have accepted that. And then through you all's approval on May 4th, we will be able to officially award that to them. I know that was a tiny little spill, but if y'all have any questions, Mary and I are happy to partner together to answer those questions.
What was the cost of this?
Cost, let's see here, I've got that. So for the 7-day meal kits, that would include 3 hot meals. That's $54.10. And then for the 10-day meal kits, which I think is what we would like to do, we're looking at 4 hot meals with a cost of $73.80 per kit.
So the families are paying for this. Am I understanding that right? I'm sorry, forgive me.
No, you're okay.
We will be covering it. It's still a free service to parents.
Okay.
And they have the option to get the number of meals that they need. But we're hoping that they would opt to do the 10-day meal, but we get a reimbursement back from USDA for the number of meals
Oh, I guess
that are.
so. There
that
is
are-
funding for it. I
Yes, there's
understand.
funding for it. Yes, sir. And then
Okay.
the other beauty of it is students have the opportunity to have meals the whole entire summer from June the 1st through August the 21st, where before it was in pockets.
I understand.
So will parents sign up for this?
Yes, ma'am. Parents will sign up for this. We will get the information out once, well, hopefully we get the approval, then we'll have all the links and everything to send to the parents so they can sign up.
So they would get a package that has 10 meals. in it.
Yes, ma'am. 10 breakfasts, 10 lunches, including juice, milk, and then we opted with the company that offered hot meals as well.
So it stays in the refrigerator for 2 weeks and something that's hot, what is it?
In the freezer, it's gonna come in like yes.
Freeze dried or something along that?
It's during the
Probably
summer.
like those
During the
summer
summer.
services that you
months.
get.
That might be a little helpful to take a glance at what the kids will be getting at home.
Wow,
Sign up.
that's right.
And then another beauty is that is for children 1 to 18. So if a grandparent lives in one end of the county and parents at the other end, when the parent signs up, they can have the food shipped to the grandparents' house, so wherever the child will be, they can use that address.
Can I ask a question? The question was that we have students that are here during the summer months for extended periods of time, like with the sports teams and things like that. Can they get fed while they're here at school all day?
Yes, ma'am. We will still have the summer enrichment, so the students that are participating during that time can get meals at Denver Elementary and at the high school. So we still will have
Okay,
that
so
service
So
for
the
those
summer
students.
school for middle and be at the high school.
But I was talking about, Ms. Carson had spoken to me about whether or not the kids that are here for conditioning in the summer can
Yes,
they
ma'am.
get
They
fed,
can-
and they can.
So they be serving traditional lunch or breakfast and lunch each day
Yes,
at
ma'am. We
summer
will still
school.
have the while they're in summer
That's
school.
great.
Yes, ma'am.
She'll be very happy. Yes,
One question I
that's
have
awesome.
while we're on the topic of the meals that are being provided. I know with Richmond Public Schools this year that they have provided meals during Eid because they do have a number of Muslim students that weren't eating throughout the day. I just wanted to know, I know that's not a big demographic here, but is that something that we've ever done in the past, trying to provide like take-home meals for some of our Muslim students that aren't eating throughout the day, or is that something we could consider going down the road? Just
We can
as that
consider it going down the road.
grows?
I know like
Okay.
with the backpack meals and things like that, but that's something we can also look into.
Okay.
And then another thing too with the program that if we are able to do this with SFSP, I'm switching over from SSO. SFFP allows us to do different things with meals, like doing school closures and other options as well. So we have a bigger variety of options
That's great.
that we can provide meals by going with SFFP.
So we get completely reimbursed for this through USDA?
We get we get reimbursed for each breakfast $3 and I want to tell you correctly. I have my papers here. $3.70 for each breakfast and $5.60 for each lunch.
So how much of that does it cover? Does that cover all of the?
Yes, sir. It'll be like, I know we're not for profit, but we'll make about $14.90 off of each meal.
Wow. Okay. Good.
So the only criteria is that they have to be our student.
Our student, or if a parent has if a grandparent has a child that's visiting from out of town, any child 1 to 18.
So are we bringing employees of our own?
No, sir, this is coming directly
vendor's
from the
doing it all.
vendor. Our employees, we work in the summer learning.
Which they've already been doing.
They've already been doing, but this also frees up some time for our employees because they were working and needed a break. And then also we've ran into some staffing issues in the past where we didn't have enough and pulling in others. But our employees are working for summer learning, but this is going straight from the vendor to the parents'
And
home.
the vendor and everything is included in that price.
All of that's in shipping,
delivery.
handling, delivery.
Excellent.
When Ms. Elder says employees, she means her and Ms. Robinson Williams, because they were the ones all last summer going to everybody's house delivering food.
And then also too, for every meal that's being sent to a parent's home, I'm gonna have a meal sent here in case it's a damaged box or whatnot. The company will cover those in the meantime, but just in case it takes a while, it'll be a box of food here that parents can pick up if it's
spare,
if it's something
like a
damaged.
spare.
Yes, ma'am.
Another quick question that I had. This is not an automatic sign up for parents, correct? This is something they have to opt into?
Yes.
Okay, so what are we doing as far as advertising this
Once we get approval, Ms. Robinson Williams and I have worked on a flyer to go and get submitted hopefully tomorrow.
Okay, the only request I would make, and maybe you guys are a step ahead, so I'm super happy to hear who you are. If we could possibly have a translation of it in Spanish. Because
It's
I do
one
know-
there.
No, okay. I said it could be a step ahead. And you are.
Yes, it's one there. And then the company has so many incentives for parents each month. I think it's each week. Was it each week? Our parents have an opportunity to put in for gift cards. It's so many incentives that parents have. This nutrition education. It's so many things that this company provides. As part of it. And that was one of the reasons we went with them. But the beauty of it for me is being able to have the children have access to meals all summer.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna be informing the parents by how?
We're gonna send out a message through Blackboard, social media. We're gonna do flyers.
Okay, I was
Yes,
gonna say, some
you
parents
do-
don't do the emails, so they
Yes,
need
Did you do a
multiple,
hard copy?
multiple ways to
Yes, ma'am.
contact them.
there
And
any
then I
other?
have too, a menu, you know, if you all wanted to see a copy of what, I mean, it's name brand foods, if you all would like to see what the menu looks like.
Sure does.
Exactly.
Why would we say no to this?
Exactly. This is such a great idea.
Thank you.
Don't ask that question, someone give you an answer.
I know, thank you.
Especially if it's.
Does the delivery have to go to a child's home?
Wash, so to speak, yeah.
Does the delivery have to go to the child's home?
It doesn't, wherever the child is.
I'm wondering, our daycares in the summer
The
that.
daycares can sign up for it.
Isn't that great?
So what about, now that you mentioned,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of our students that use like the McKinney-Vento benefits and what have you, like if there's a child that's like in a hotel.
Wherever
We
they
can
are
get it
with
to
their
them,
address,
yeah.
we can get it to them. And then again, if I find out or we find out that there's a child with, the parent may not feel comfortable with sending to it, then we'll get that sent here. They can, Ms. Robinson Williams and I'll get it delivered.
Yeah.
So all children will have access. The downside, but it's also a good side, the children who are enrolled in summer learning cannot enroll because they're already getting the hot meals from the school.
system.
But when they're out doing their break, you know, we got that little break, then the parent can sign them up to get that, so they still have continuous access to meals.
So some families though may have a child in summer school and children at home.
They
Yeah,
still,
they
but
can
you
get
sign it
both.
up by the child's name.
Okay.
So good for both. That's great.
Any other
So
dis-
exciting.
any other discussion or questions on this? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
She's thinking always. Awesome.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept our award, so the board accepts, the rest, I'm trying to figure out the rest of what to say, cause I don't know, that we award
The RP, did we award the RP?
okay, that we award the
To-
RP to PepsiCo.
PepsiCo.
Right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we award the RFP to PepsiCo for the direct-to-home delivery of summer non-congregate meal kits. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Non-congregate meeting.
That's a very great.
I guess it means they're individual. All right. So we're going to again adjourn. We've scheduled, we're on time.
How about that?
Good stuff. We're scheduled for a public hearing related to our budget at 5 o'clock, and we have to honor that 5 o'clock schedule because it's a public hearing and we've advertised it. So we've got about 8 minutes that we will adjourn and then reconvene in about 8 minutes for the public hearing. Thank you for being here. I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A motion.
And
The regular meeting, second.
you second that?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn from the regular business meeting, board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you. Meeting to order.
Madam Chair, I move that we move into the public hearing portion of our meeting tonight.
All right. And we don't
Mr.
need to
Chair,
take.
sorry.
Yeah, you're okay. We don't need to take roll for this as though it's a separate meeting, do we?
We don't have to do the certification because that's just for the closing.
Right. Okay. So good. All right. Good. Well, great. Dr. Weston.
Yes. Members of the board, I'm so happy to be here this evening along with my colleague Christy Fleming to present to you a balanced budget. We are being cautiously optimistic, but we're feeling very good about the budget that we're providing you this evening. We are going to present to you some of the things you've seen already as far as the operating budget goes, but mostly we'll be paying a closer attention to the grants and other funds that we have in our budget for the upcoming school year. All right, I just checked this. We're going to skip all the way to slide 33 since you've seen everything else.
Maybe it's just now catching up. Sorry.
I saw, it looks like, okay, there, it's working now. That's me. Okay. I don't think I have to tell you all this, but public schools do really matter when you talk about the health of a community. They do a lot of great things. So as businesses move into our community, or as people buy their houses, they always want to know, how healthy is the school system. And so you can see there the increased property values and provide places for young people and essential community services. And so it's very important that there's an investment made into our public schools. The reason why we're here this evening, or the reason why we do the work that we do, is that what we talk about often is not just the day of graduation, but really what happens to our young people the day after graduation, and can they walk into a viable career or go on to continue higher ed or go into the services. But our job is to make certain that our children are opportunity ready the minute that they walk across that stage. When we met with the Board of Supervisors, we talked a lot about what our vision is, not just what the vision of Dinwiddie County Public Schools is, but what is our vision for our community. And interestingly enough, there's a lot of similar statements in both of our vision statements. You can see there Dinwiddie County's vision statement. We cherish our heritage, embrace opportunity. We talk a lot about our students being opportunity ready, and offer an extraordinary community in which to spend a lifetime. Part of that extraordinary community would mean excellent and extraordinary schools. And then the statement at the bottom is our vision statement, our new vision statement for our school system. Together, we grow a trailblazing school system where every student is equipped to thrive in college, career, community, and character. DCPS graduates are resilient, ethical, skilled, and opportunity ready with a plan for lifelong success. So you see there's lots of similarities between the two vision statements. Dinwiddie County went through they've just finished their comprehensive plan in the last couple of years. And what's interesting about their community survey was that the school system was mentioned as a priority for the members of this community, whether or not they had students in our school system. Here are the things when they asked what the 3 top valued attributes are of this community. The education system was listed as the top 3. When they talked about the 3 top concerns of our community, they talked about the quality of our public schools being the top 3 concerns. And when they talked about, the community said that the top 3 focus areas for the future for Dinwiddie County should be improving its public schools. And so, as you can see, not only is the school system and the quality of the school system and our education system our priority, it is the priority of every person, every community member. We also did an internal budget survey. We wanted to know, what do they want? Our internal stakeholders, what did our parents and our internal stakeholders want us to focus on? We also did a needs assessment for our strategic plan, and the top 4 areas of focus for the future were student achievement and opportunities, once again, excellent teachers, which I believe that we would all agree with that, having a culture of care and well-being for our students and for our grown people, and finally, making sure that our facilities are updated. What drives our budget is really how many students that we have in our school system and our average daily membership. You can see here over the years, we've dropped somewhat, and that's really where the money part of the revenue part of our budget and also of our expenditures, that number comes from. And you can see there for the 25-26 school year, it's 3871. So you're going to see what we based our budget on in just a few minutes. You know, it's interesting because a lot of people are saying, well, so many people are leaving public education. Well, the research isn't really saying that it's about people leaving public education as much as they're saying that what they're seeing now is the generation are not having as many children as previous generations. So I think that there is a lot of things going on. It's not necessarily that people are running from anything or to something else, but there are just a lot of factors that are coming into play, and one of them has to do with childbirth. They're seeing a decline in childbirth. Okay. We, no matter how many students sit in our schools, we provide a lot of different personalized learning environments, and with that come cost involved. And you can see a lot of the programs and a lot of the opportunities that we provide our young people, and you'll see are very familiar with the costs that are associated with all of those things as well. But we really pride ourselves on being able to meet the needs of our students where they are and being able to accelerate them to where that they want to go. Once again, here is our enhanced vision and mission for the school system. I already spoke to the vision statement, but I also want to speak to the mission statement: rooted in community, grounded in care, and committed to every child's growth. And I believe that we have a budget that really is going to speak to that we cultivate learners to become confident, compassionate, and prepared to reach great heights in life beyond graduation. So everything we're doing is about making sure that they're ready for life beyond that day. So our budget priorities really around three things. It's about students, it's about staff, and it's about operations, and making certain that whatever we do in this budget is going to have the greatest impact on student success, and make sure that we're prioritizing their needs, the needs for student learning. One of the biggest things that has the greatest impact on student learning has to do with the people sitting in our classrooms and standing in front of our students every day. We have a total of 663 employees currently. 427 of those are instructional positions, and as you know, the state doesn't fund all 427 positions, but all are very needed. They fund 340 of those positions. We have 236 support positions, and 131 of those are support positions are funded. So what that means is that we have to find the funding, we have to lean on the county to assist us in funding the other positions. And so when you see that the compensation that the state provides us for our employees, for 2% increase, a 3% increase, it really is for those SOQ and funded positions and not for all positions. So when we talk about our staff, we got to make certain that we can afford our staff. We got to pay. I believe that smart people can work anywhere, and it's important, and I know it's a priority of this board to take care of teachers. And you've often talked about the bus drivers as well. So this budget really is heavy in those two areas. To do the increase that we'd like to do for all employees, it's going to cost about $2.1 million for those 663 employees that we talked about earlier. For teachers, they're going to see a pay increase anywhere from 5 to 8.65. What we've been able to do is to take the teacher scale, and if you remember, there was a little compression happening in the middle years with our teachers, so we've been able to fix some of that. We've been able to raise the starting rate for brand new teachers to 58.5. For bus drivers, I think this is so very important. We are probably the least competitive in our region for bus drivers. We are proposing to raise bus drivers' salaries to $25 an hour, which I think puts us near the top in this region. I know that we're getting a lot of applications now of bus drivers wanting to come and work for us here in Dinwiddie, which is wonderful. So they'll see anything from a 5% increase to some of our drivers will see a 32.5% increase in their pay. And that's going to cost us about $337,000 to do that. And then for all of the other employees who are on the UPP scale, they'll receive between a 5 and a 5.15% increase, and that's going to cost us about $622,000. And I think I failed to say that the teacher part is the largest, and that's $1.6 million to do that pay increase for them. I mentioned already where we would be as far as the starting pay. I will tell you that as far as Region 1 goes right now, I'm not, for the most part, you can see there, I know all of those districts there with the exception, I'm not sure about Richmond, but I know that the others listed there are not doing, we're doing a 5% increase. Most of them are doing a 2 to 3% increase. But all of the others there, will not be coming anywhere near that. So hopefully that's going to make us far more competitive than we've been in past years when we're talking about teachers. Okay, that makes me very excited. So as far as benefits go, I know the other thing that we had talked about is that our health insurance increase this year was 12.5%. And as you can see, it's a large part of our budget. You can see the school operating fund there. 59% of the operating fund is compensation, and that's just the salary and the like. But benefits are about 23% of the budget, and you can see there in benefits has things to do like Social Security, the Virginia retirement system, group life, and like. And just to note there, and Christy was able to calculate this for us, health insurance has increased 87% since 2019. That is unbelievable. I don't know if you're experiencing the same thing. And then the rest of the budget, the remaining 18% of the budget is everything else. So everything in our budget is primarily, 83% of our budget's about our people and making sure that we're paying them and taking care of their health care. I really do applaud the board because we talked about when we give people a raise, if you try to push out 12.5% of health insurance to them, it doesn't feel like they got a raise, right? So we have been able to take the approximately $800,000 that it was going to cost us for the health insurance and been able to put it inside the operating budget. So you can see there that this year, just the health insurance alone in the budget is $7.1 million. But that's so our employees do not have to absorb any of the cost. So they'll still get the raise, and then the health insurance will be taken care of. And I really do applaud the board for that. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Any questions about compensation before I move on to the others? Yeah, of course.
So you addressed the compression in the teacher's pay scale. And I was approached by a bus driver recently, and their question was, with the increase, will that create compression, or is there going to be, so it will scale out with the, okay, good.
Yeah, they've gone through every one, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
but thanks for asking,
Yeah.
And they would be getting that information soon. Yes,
Well, now they are paid, you're saying you're raising theirs to $25 an hour, so, but they're not all paid at the same rate, right? It does depend on,
But it's an even percentage between, it's a gradual percentage between, but it will not create any compression.
So if they have 8 years experience, that will be reflected in their, in the
Yes.
increase. I got you.
so that they'll have a higher increase, but yeah.
It starts
it's
at
not-
25 and goes, I don't,
Yeah,
so the beginning driver would get 25.
the beginning
Yes.
driver will get 25.
Okay.
so
right.
I can look up
Mhm.
what our, what
'Cause
like a-
we have some that have been with us a long time.
20-year driver or
Yeah.
30-year driver.
To give you an idea of that.
Oh, you don't have to look it up, but I was
Yeah.
just making sure that there is a difference between the 20-year driver and the new
There will
driver.
be.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And the drivers are very, very excited about that and are very appreciative of your being a champion for them and the work that they do.
We shared that with them
Yes,
earlier when we first started talking about this too.
they're very excited. And as I said, we are getting a lot of applications from other districts of people who want to come here to work, which is great. Any other questions?
Stickers on the bus
Yes, how do I know Mr. Walters and his team? Yeah, I like that too. It's like a walking a driving billboard. Come work with us, drive with us. Yes, I like that too. Yep. Okay. There are some required increases, which you know, inside this budget with tuition for our students. We did put the employee compensation because in order for us to accept this money from the State Department, we do have to provide the increase for employees. We have instructional academic supplements in this budget, a lot of contractual services which go up every single year, our utilities, and once again, health insurance is 12.5%. But once again, I do applaud this board for not having employees have to absorb this. They did have to absorb some of last year's, and so I think it will feel like that they've received the compensation that they truly deserve. All right, so under student achievement and opportunities, which is one of our priorities, all of our regional programs are costing more money this year. So ARGS and Maggie Walker and Code RVA. We also have students that take dual enrollment programs at Bright Point Community College. So all those are increases for this year. We did have to add a couple of positions, but these are all positions that are at the school level. 3 teachers, a kindergarten, a first, and a 5th grade teacher. That really is to make sure we keep those class sizes, especially in K1, down. We like to keep them as close to 20 as possible. We needed to add an autism teacher. That program is continuing to learn to get larger, and then also early learning, and then to make sure that we could continue to have our student support specialist for attendance, and he works in the middle and the high school directly with students. We did reclassify 4 positions. These are existing positions that we have. As you know, we have 3 schools that are currently federally identified for special education. So we know we had to do something different to be able to support our teachers, but also our students. And those positions will work 10.5 months instead of 10 months to assist us in those areas. And then the academic stipends that you see there. Now, since the last time that we came together, here's some of the adjustments since we met with the county. We have some additional revenue that we've been able to in our work sessions of $779,000. We did increase our ADM by 25 students to 3875, and we feel pretty confident that we're going to be okay with that, which brought in an additional almost $300,000. We moved the state share up to 3%. What we're hearing from Richmond right now is that we believe that the House and the Senate are going to compromise at 3%. So we're feeling pretty confident about that. We did, and now what we did with the General Assembly budget, we took what the House was saying and what the Senate was saying, and instead of choosing either side, we tried to kind of find a place in the middle because we know we're going to get some additional funding, but we just don't know how much it's going to be. So we're a little conservative, and we added, we did a little bit for the at-risk and the exceptional education as proposed, because I don't know if you remember, but one was like $1.8 million and the other one was a whole different number. And so we basically met in the middle somewhere. And so you can see that there. We actually decreased the local transfer by $158,000 to reflect the $650 that the county is proposing in their budget. We did some expenditure adjustments. We changed it so that we would absorb paying the full increase to the healthcare. We did put the additional teaching position there, but we did eliminate some vacant positions that would not have impact on our schools. And then midway gym floor asbestos removal is included in the county CIP. And then we also materials and supplies. We made some reductions there as well.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Go back up to the, we increased the ADM by 25. Where do we stand now versus what are we?
3871.
Is our enrollment now?
That's ADM. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we're going to go up by 25?
Yes, because before when we brought the budget to you previously, we actually had it at 3850. So we pushed it up because we're at 3871. So we went, so we're at 3871. So we went ahead and brought it up so we could, that brings us some additional revenue. But knowing if we start the year, right, because
There's a
remember,
risk, yeah.
you know, when we do the September 30th, I mean, we're going to watch it and, you know, there's always vacant positions and things like that. But in order to get the budget balanced right now, we feel okay about raising that by 25.
How did what we proposed last year started with and what we ended up with?
But we were about 100, go ahead.
Yeah.
So about 100 students.
Kids less than what
Less.
we had in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And this time we're gonna guess 25 more?
Well, our budget was built on 3975
Right.
last year, 3,975. So
Right.
we were taking it down to 3,850
Mm-hmm.
in our first proposal to you, which is 125 students less. Now we feel like we're taking it down 100 students from where we budgeted last year.
Mm-hmm.
But we adjusted since the last time we came to you.
We went up 25.
About 25,
kids.
yeah. Because we're at
Still
3871
100 less than what we budgeted in 26.
last year.
Okay.
What
So
is-
basically, when we go up to 25, we're 75 less.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
We're at 3871 currently, but last year, we had dropped it 125 students
Right.
from last year to this year. So instead of going the full 125, we backed it up, so it's just 100.
Yeah.
So we basically, it's a difference of 100 students from last year to this year.
Do we have any projections on the kindergarten enrollment?
Yes,
We do not,
consider-
typically it's around 300, but we have not, enrollment for kindergarten comes in really slow for us for whatever reason, and Penny they do a great job trying to get Missionera and Penny, they really try to get the enrollment, but it's typically August before we really get a clear idea about kindergarten enrollment. But
What's
it's usually
the
around 300 kids.
Size of the senior class?
It's right at 300, maybe a little bit less than that this year. Every class is about 300, give or take. We sometimes have smaller classes.
And
But we wouldn't do it if we did not feel, I mean, we've dropped it by 100, 25 kids. I do feel like in the budget, there are going to be places in there that if it comes back that we needed those 25 kids, finding $269,000, we would typically have vacancies and things like that in the budget to cover those costs.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions about that? Okay. You'll recognize these numbers. We've just adjusted them to match the 3875 that we talked about, so they do look a little bit different. But the total increase in state revenue that we are going to receive would be the $2.3 million from the state. This gives you it shows you over time what our increase has been, or excuse me, what our revenue has been over time, our state funding increases. So for the example, this year, it's going to be about 5% increase. And as you can see, it's based on 3875 students there. Right? State funding and compensation increases, once again. On the left-hand side there, you see the state SOQ funded pay raises. The governor's budget said 2%. We feel like the General Assembly is saying 3%, and that's what we're leaning toward as far as the budget we put together to balance right now. And then the Dinwiddie teacher raises there, you can see what we've done over the past few years, and this year we're proposing 5% to 8.65.
Are we okay for adjusting if the General Assembly just comes through with 2?
Well, it's going to require us to come back to the table and make some other adjustments in there. It could be at some point that we have to go back to that health insurance and say a certain percentage might have to go out.
Right.
That's probably would be the way, because we have we've made a lot of adjustments in this budget. So, and we haven't made any, we haven't put things in any place. So the only couple of places that would happen would be positions. For example, if somebody were to leave, and let's say the kindergarten numbers were low and it was a kindergarten teacher that left, so we might not fill that position. So that might be something we could do. Or the health insurance might be another area. So I mean, I think we'd have to go back to the drawing. We're gonna have to bring an amended budget back to you one way or the other, based on what comes out of Richmond.
So the contracts that went out that have their annual salary don't say anything about the health insurance piece.
It does not. That's something that we have communicated to them and, I'm sorry?
I did put in a letter to them
Yes.
that the board was covering the 12.4% increase.
Mhm.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, there is the disclaimer on their contract that said all of this is pending, funding from Richmond, and which would cover that as well. It's, everything's pending funding, whether it's from the county,
Right.
from the locality, or from the state. And so we certainly, it's unfortunate that we don't have a budget out of Richmond yet. We did have an opportunity yesterday to hear from the governor directly. She was at our conference. And she feels very optimistic that we will have it very soon and it will be favorable to public education. And so I think most superintendents are moving forward, that she is a strong proponent of public education, and especially when it comes to teachers and employees. So I do think that it will be favorable. I don't think she would be coming with that message if, she obviously knows more than we know. So but you're right. It's the small print says if the funding, is there to support that. But that's a great question. This has to do with the county's request of the transfer. We did request $808,000 initially to support the half teacher raise. We have received news that they're willing to support the 650. I'm very grateful to the county. They're a good partner to us, and I'm very appreciative of their support of our school system, and both in word and deed. And this certainly did help us in making certain that we could provide the teachers with the increases that they deserve. And there you can see the local transfer over time, what that's looked like. So for example, from the county, we're asking for $17.3 million, which is an increase of 3.9% for the upcoming school year. Okay, here are some of the other revenue sources that are in our operating budget, which you're very familiar with. Rivermont is one, which is News Story, driver's education fees, Chromebook insurance, vision grant, and then there's some other federal grants that are also included in that as well. So here's our revenue summary from the total from the state. 72% of our budget comes from the state, as you can see there. The local transfer is about 26%, and you can see the amounts there. So these are the sources that we get to build our operating budget. Okay. This is our expense summary, and you can see how we spend the money in the budget. 70% of our budget is spent on instruction, whether it's instructional positions, but also just instruction in general. The next largest category would be maintenance, which is no surprise when you have aging facilities and lots of things that need to be taken care of. And then transportation is after that, but then you can see the other areas that are taken care of in this budget. But the largest amount, 70%, once again, being in the area of instruction. So our operating budget is $64.4 million. We expect to receive that in revenue, and we expect to expend all that before the end of the school year this year, or the end of the budget year. Any other questions about the operating before we go into small capital projects? We certainly can come back to it if you'd like as well. Okay, for small capital projects, Mr. Walters does Mr. Walters does a really great job and has done a great job really identifying projects that we can take care of with minimal funds, but these are very important projects. The county has agreed to, once again, maintain the $300,000 that they were giving us for small capital projects, which they increased last year, so I'm very excited about that. They also in their CIP is $142,800 for the Midway gym floor, and bus replacement at $400,000. So for the Fund 302 is $840,000 there. Yes, sure.
About the Midway floor,
Yes.
has that been on there Or is that relatively new to that?
It was on there.
Yeah.
It was shy of $100,000, so I agreed to take it off.
Mhm.
And then I went back to the contractor because the bid was put in probably 6 or 7 years ago. So I said, let me just make sure it's still shy of 100,000, and it came back at about 140.
Does that 142 is to replace the floor, but also for abatement?
Yes.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Okay,
They're
gotcha.
gonna abate it and redo the Mondo floor, put Mondo floor on there. So
Oh, good, good.
that's
Mhm.
all bills paid.
Yes. And that is, the thing that we risk sometimes when we put these things on our project, we think we can, on our plan, we think we can cover it with small capital, but the longer they wait, it starts to cost more money for these projects. And so we're trying to, make sure that they're aware of that. The longer we wait, things do cost a lot of money. Here's some ongoing projects that we're currently working on. And these are projects that were funded in a previous year, but we are going to have some expenditures for fiscal year 27. The tennis court, which I know Mr. Walker's happy to see that. It's something, but also our community, because our community uses that tennis court as well. The soffit repair is something we've been waiting for a very long time, and you can see the work's already started over there. They're making progress. They're making progress. I saw a fence up, so that makes this progress. The annex roof replacement, and then the Midway Auditorium. That's another place I'm very excited about, and that's going to also require flooring and things of that. But also, we're going to have chairs there that fit bodies that are bodies of today and not bodies of the 1900s. Because they're like little teeny chairs for little teeny people. So we're going to have chairs that fit everybody.
Could I ask about the annex roof?
Yes.
Obviously, capital projects, tax money is tax money. It's not our money and their money. But it's in our budget, and what's in that building is not necessarily school. Christmas sharing is a county thing.
We have the food banks.
Food bank.
Food pantries in there.
Is the county kind of helping out with this a little bit, since
Well,
it's not a school thing?
Yes, well, these are, they're providing the funds to take care of this.
They did all the legwork.
Oh, they did?
As far as
Okay.
getting the initial quotes and all that.
Okay.
And Howerton asked if I would mind doing it. Now, I don't mind at all. We're working with our normal architect, RMM, and actually I just got an email sitting here that looks like that's going to probably go out to bid the 15th of May. So it's not, they did all the hard work, and now we're just closing it up so we can kind of drive the project.
And they're paying for it.
Okay.
Because there were other similar projects that they're doing in the county, so I think it's kind of a collection of.
I'm embarrassed to ask this if it has been done. Is the cafeteria over there demolished yet?
No.
No, next year.
Next year, okay.
That's something that keeps getting pushed back.
Okay.
But they also have some other buildings that they're going to do as well. So the Sheriff's Department, the old,
There's a brick house back here that they own by the courthouse.
they're going to do this house that's over here behind the actual sheriff or the fire and EMS place. Yeah. So they've added a few things and they're going to do them all at the same time. But it's still there.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's school capital, beginning balance. Right now, we project at $5.6 million, and that's just because a lot of things have already been funded. They're going to transfer an additional $540,000 in addition to the $300,000 for the small capital. We expect to spend about $5.2 million, and at the end of the year, about $1.2 million. Textbooks speaks for itself. You can see what's in textbooks. Currently, we have about $1 million in that fund. And you can see what is also included in that and the revenue that we receive from the state. We do expect to be an expenditure of $1.1 million this year, $1.1 million this year, and we would end with $557,000. This is a fund that we can continue to roll over from year to year, just depending on when we need to do different textbook adoptions. School nutrition, you can see that a beginning balance of $708,000. And the revenue we expect to bring in at $3.1 million, expenditures $3.4 million. And you see there, she's also going to do a 5% salary increase, but food, supplies, repairs, and maintenance there, and an ending balance of $352,000 for this year. And here's all the other grants that you get all the reports on and the presentations, and you can see the grants there to the right. We have a beginning balance of those grants of $556,000. We do have to do a transfer from the school fund because we are required to do a local match for a lot of these grants, and that's $469,000. From federal and state and other revenues, probably around $5.2 million. Total expenditures, $5.9 million. Ending balance, $256,000. And you can see the grants there.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Are we still okay are we still doing the same on the school nutrition as far as all students are eating?
Yes,
We
we still qualify for that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sure. Debt service, you can see here, beginning balance at $3.2 million, revenue at 3.8, ending balance 3.7. And some of the debt service that's being paid for, the county is paying on our behalf, have to do with like the high school and Sutherland, and some of the refinance projects over the years that they've had. And regardless of what the payment is, they continue to pay the same rate the same payment that they've always paid. So they're kind of building up funds for us in this account. So when we get ready to do things like maybe the middle school, that's kind of the next big project, there will be resources available to us, which is quite smart. Here's a summary of all the funds. We expect to have about $11.2 million of all funds, $78.5 million all revenues, $83.6 million in expenditures with an ending balance of this year at $6.2 million. And here you can see a chart or a graph of all of the revenues that we receive and where they come from. Okay. And then all of the expenses and where the expenses come from, or where we're expending our money. And then finally, the last things we're waiting on is just the General Assembly to finalize their budget. The county's going to approve their budget on May 5th, and then we'll bring back to you on May the 12th approval for you all to do the approval as well. And we feel most likely we'll have to come back to you at some point to do an amended budget, depending on what one comes out of the General Assembly. Happy to answer any questions. We have members of the team here, also happy to answer any questions from different departments. Any suggestions, but the purpose of this time would be for us to take any public comment, not only today, but from anybody at home or as we go through these next couple of weeks, if they have comments about the budget, they should pass those along to any of us or to you, so we can make sure that those things are included or documented.
I appreciate all the work you guys do.
Yeah, it's a great team.
It's a great big puzzle, and it's
Yes.
a lot of people to help put all the pieces together, and I appreciate all your work.
Thank you for providing us with this much information.
Yes, ma'am. It is, and I think, it's something that I think we keep learning, but I really applaud you all because I think, from the time I've arrived, you've always made it about people first and foremost, and I think this budget really speaks to the people in this community, the people that are serving our kids, and that's what's most important in this moment. And I know the teachers are very appreciative, and so I'm very happy about this budget.
So with the, what's it called, small capital, the fleet man, we're one full year into that, and that's unfolding the way we.
We've purchased or rented 7 new vans.
Yeah.
On
And
the
this,
road right now.
Yes.
and then this coming school year, we'll purchase
We'll probably purchase 3.
3.
So we'll be 10 over 2 years, which was a little ahead of what I was hoping. I was hoping 8 over 2 years.
Okay.
What does it look like it's doing what we thought it would do financially, what you thought it would do financially?
Yes, well, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not happy with the rental, but I live and learn there. We're gonna finish our obligation there, but we'll be purchasing vehicles from now and not renting them.
Okay.
That's just cleaner and easier for us.
What, renting meaning lease?
Leasing, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm meaning to say lease, not
Right.
rent.
Yeah,
So everywhere I said rent.
Yeah.
So we won't work with Enterprise anymore after this, or how will that work?
I'm
I think
not gonna
that
lease vehicles.
Yes, I think, yeah, and I think we, you know,
Mileage is an issue
Yeah.
with the leasing.
I think we're 1 year in, and I think one of the things is, I think we've learned some lessons in this 1 year. And I think at some point when we have the data to be able to show you about why this works better than this, because I think what we had initially was what we thought was the best
Yeah.
move to make, and I think now what we're seeing is a different direction, maybe better for us, both
'Cause
fiscally and,
One
you
of
know.
the selling points on that, if I recall, was something to do with equity in the vehicles and whatnot, and
Yeah, but we're gonna maintain that equity by owning the vehicle.
by owning the
Yes.
vehicle.
So now, but now we can determine when we wanna get rid of that equity instead of waiting till the end of the contract.
Okay,
I like to be, well, we like to be
Yeah.
a little more in charge of
Sure.
our equity than
sure,
someone else.
Yeah,
gotcha. Makes sense.
But we still do have 7 vehicles that are gonna have that lease equity at the end of the lease.
Okay,
So we'll get that, they'll just send us a check if we decide not to go back.
so this coming year, we'll go ahead and start purchasing, is that the idea? Okay, great.
Well, the state has these rules and regulations about how many miles and so forth that can be on a bus. Do they have the same thing on cars and vans?
They do not.
Coming from a person that drives vehicles with a lot of miles and
They do a really, really good job of rotating though. I had no idea that the intricacies of rotating these vehicles. You know, a van that drives to Richmond every day this year will not drive to Richmond every day next year.
Right.
It'll be more of a local van. Chuck Townsend does a great job
Yeah.
of keeping track of that.
okay,
yeah,
makes sense.
Thank you, Dr. Weston.
yeah,
and all
it's the
your help,
team, it's
your
this whole
help,
team here, yes.
Your assistance.
They-
and,
My
and-
strategic advisors is what I'm.
Well, then that new name,
That's
strategic
right.
advisors. But it is a lot of work. You're
It's a
dealing
brain
with
trust.
numbers, people,
Mhm.
and I think you're saying that we have our people in that we so requested years
Yes.
back. You know that we have some mental health people in, some nurses in,
Yes,
and counselors, the
Yes.
people that we really need, and the state is saying that we must have them. So thank you.
and actually in a lot of areas, we exceed what the state requires for that because we felt so strongly that we want to make sure those folks are in the building, so,
And also the CTE people
yes.
that also providing the upperclassmen with financial information.
Yes, we exceed those numbers as
I
well.
was looking at a piece today that that number has gone to over 3 million over the country. So I said we are right in that number. So that's
So smart.
appreciated.
Yes.
Learn them, teach them how to use their finances before they get into the work.
Absolutely, it's so critical.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Madam Clerk, do we have any public,
No one has signed up to speak
I just would
tonight.
also like to say, Dr. Garnes is in the building. I just wanted to publicly acknowledge him and thank him for being here. They know about your successes. We're so proud of him. So happy for him.
congratulations. Forgive us if it takes us a little while to remember to refer to you as Dr. Garnes, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Yeah. Are there any board comments?
I do want to say, where's Dr. Clay?
Dr.
Dr. Clay, thank you for volunteering to work on that committee because we always leave the rural people out. And they don't, you know, people who serve on committees don't know the problems and the things that we endure by living in a rural area. Even though we choose to live here, we love it, but we have some challenges. And I thank you so much for agreeing to work and volunteering to work on that committee.
Anybody else? I'll just say, and I appreciate Dr. Weston touched on it. You know, we're looking at numbers as far as dollars and cents, but really this is all about people. It's about, number one, making sure that the kids have what they need and are getting the education they need, but also taking care of the employees. And so sometimes we get hung up in the intricacies of the budget, but we have to remember it's about people. And so I appreciate the fact that you guys have done that. There are faces behind those numbers. So hearing no objections, the meeting is adjourned.